line. Hey, the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing.
Through thick and thin, through thin and span, of course, the one track that a lot of people know quite well for its hard racing speeds and control of the track and the trucks. It certainly has to be known. This is Kansas City's track, Kansas Speedway here in Kansas City, Kansas. Ladies and gentlemen, hi everyone. I am the Crusader Christian Try to join you guys here today. Our good friend and colleague Dustin Sloanaker will be with us any moment here, relatively speaking, as he's currently just getting kind of settled up on his end right now, ready for the show and the action ahead. Presented in part by our friends, of course, at Force Sports Screening and Printing. Be sure to check out John T. Garrett's Twitch channel as well to give him some love and support. And thank you again to Fort Worth Screening Printing for all their support this season as we continue on with the Pit Stall Summer Series live here on PTM Racing TV. Action getting hot underway here in Kansas City. Of course, there's some major updates and major fields going ahead on this track. Many hot mic drivers and ready some hot racing deer as practice currently gets considered underway and gets settled up onto the track. Still watching on right now as our field continues to work their way out and work their way around. We'll have a listen in with some of our boys here and see who is going to be top dog of the bunch here as we get ready for it. Starting up today, though, of course, will be the man that pilots the big 66. John T. Garrett now joins us on the call. John, as you get ready for the action at hand here, sir, it seems like this truck is going to have some sheer speed and competition at some high level and high paces today, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't got a lot of laps in yet, so it's generally tire management here, so we'll see how it goes.
The tire management and a little bit of that drafting speeds off the starts. How long do you think it takes, really, if we get away from that from the drafting packs and having to go away more towards the actual racing line of it?
Yeah, it just depends how hard these guys want to drive in the beginning. I mean, you can drive hard and get away from the pack, use up your tires, or conserve your tires and let the pack drive away from you. It's just a lot of variables going on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, John, nevertheless, we do really appreciate your time here today, sir. Best of luck as we get you ready on the track.
10-4, appreciate it.
John T. Garrett, ladies and gentlemen, have a little listen in here as he gets prepared up for the action at hand. Some of our other guys ready to wheel him in and come up together here through the field. One of them happens to be the man that pilots the big 45, Tim Williams, on the track here. Tim, good to see you back on the show here, sir.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Good to have you back indeed. So, this Beaky Banks 45 Chevrolet Silverado kind of wheeling off the track. Right now, 8th fastest practice here. Quite a bit of a time gap zone here. I got to believe a little bit kind of helps from the kind of the plate racing mentality you guys have off these starts, isn't it? I think we might have lost them on our end here, guys.
No, I couldn't hear what you were saying there. Somebody was talking over top of you.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say 8th fastest in practice right now, and pretty good little speed and little power under the hood. I mean, how you kind of feeling right now with this here today?
Feels good actually right now. Hopefully I can keep it up through the race and see what happens.
For sure there. All right. Well, nevertheless, Tim, really appreciate you coming back on board today. Best of luck and wishes here in this big 45 today.
Thank you, and have a good race, guys. Everybody, have fun.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Williams in the BK Paints, number 45, had a little chat with us on the track as he gets ready for his action up ahead. Field right now currently still finishing their way around, just getting the last minute laps and put into position. Times are coming up quick and times are coming up fast here. We are set on the action, set on the stage. I believe we have another driver we're going to listen into here real quick. Piloting in the 388. I believe this is Douglas Johnson. Douglas, is this you, sir? Douglas, you got a copy? Nope, I guess not, folks. I think we do not have a copy down there. Well, they'll have to go from practice into the qualifying stage. We are now set to go on the action here, race fans. That means it's time for only one thing. Qualifying is just about to hit up and come onto the place here. We'll have to see what happens here as we get ready for the action coming up away here in just a moment here, as the field is currently getting strapped in and ready for this one here. And it's time to see who will be our fastest driver of the bunch here. Currently, the drivers are getting chat to real quick, getting a little chat, making sure they know it's time to go racing. We'll put the Tower of Doom back up here for qualifying session. Qualifying is now up and away. Let's see what happens here. Popping away on the laps right now. We're gonna see the number 24. That is Tim Lee driving his truck on right now on the field, getting his pushed back on the field, trying to see if he can lay down a good lap. Time shows the second place spot. Tim Williams in the 45, getting the fastest time out of the gate here. Eric Blount, the number 6 now, also making his way on here. Eric Blount laying down a third fastest time there. Tim Lee moving back into the 4th slot. Tim Williams in the 45 takes one spot down. As a 17, Derek Paulson now moves up the chains and up the ladder, looking to try and gain the fastest of the Brinks here today. Dustin Sonaker will be joining us here in just a little bit, folks. So our broadcast team will be a duo today. And he is now joining me in the call right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's Dustin Franklin actually in the 47. Getting that Fort Worth 47 into the top spot to start out today's race. Got Douglas R. Johnson also trying to make a few laps as Chantel Pottle now feels in her final laps. Dustin, Sparkalicious, Sonaker, are you there, my friend?
Hello, hello. Can you all hear me?
Well, we hear you just fine, my friend. It is good to hear from you, sir.
Okay, excellent. Glad I was able to get through here. Had a little technical problem there for a little bit, but here I am.
You are here indeed, my friend. It is good to have you back. How you feeling today?
Well, after a long day's work, I'm pretty exhausted, but heck, I got enough energy to go in here and jump in here and do a race here with you here tonight.
That's what we love to hear, my friend. Great to have you back.
Absolutely, sir.
So right now, currently, our fastest driver here, Dustin Franklin, the 47, has laid down the fastest time as we watch Chantel Pottle lay down her final lap here in qualifying. Goes from the top 9. We'll seat it at the 7th slot. Still quite a few drivers left to go, but Dustin, I think it's time we bring in some company, don't you think?
Well, sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring in some company, shall we?
Let's bring him in right now, indeed. Currently the man that stops on top of the totem pole here of the Tower of Doom, Dustin Franklin, the 47. You laid down the fastest time, barely, and I mean barely, edging out by 100 of a second there to Derek Paulson. I mean, that's got to be some serious speed you were hanging in with this thing.
Oh, yeah, I just wound her up on the top and just let her eat on the bottom on the second one, and it worked for me.
Worked well for you. Now, I got to ask you this too, sir. I mean, we talked with your teammate earlier, John Garrett. I mean, he said it point blank. This is going to be more of a tire wear track when you start to spread out. But, I mean, what's going to be the strategy, though, for you in this case? Do you try to go for the runs early, or do you try to maybe just kind of back off and let the other drivers do their own thing for then?
I mean, I think I'm just gonna try to keep the pace that I want to keep, and I'm gonna let them decide what they want to do. Definitely tire wear track, and I want to be there at the end. There's been a lot of wrecks, so I'm not gonna try to in practice. I'm not gonna try to push it too hard here during the race.
For sure there. All right. Well, nevertheless, Dustin, we really appreciate coming on board. Best wishes and luck to you and the crew.
Appreciate you, man. Have a great one.
Absolutely. Dustin Frank, ladies and gentlemen, the 47, taking some time to chat with us here. As his teammate John T. Garrett has, we mentioned earlier, talked with him. He lays down the 4 fastest, and that's gonna be kind of a bit of a duo there. Working with your friends and your teammates definitely here. Sparky is gonna be a big get around, especially considering that draft package. These guys have to kind of work around too.
Yeah, absolutely. It is good to have a friend out there. Definitely even better to have a teammate as well. And y'all can share information there and be able to work on your truck and also work together in the race as well. And yeah, the draft is very important here at Kansas, especially early on when the tires are fresh. These guys will really be getting after it, and it'll be kind of key to try to hook up together and try to get away from the rest of the pack behind you. So then when the tires wear out, then you got a little bit of a gap there.
Certainly a bit of a gap, a little bit of a place to kind of work around and see if maybe this thing can hold line just long enough to keep up the distance and up with the ride tonight. There's going to be a lot of drivers, in my opinion, that are going to have more wear and tear than usual, more of a kind of a dilemma or two with them. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out for them. But nevertheless, I mean, it's going to be a wild night, that's for sure.
Absolutely, especially since I've already ran here in the trucks a couple of times already and knowing how this race goes on. And it seems like if you get a long green flag run here, it benefits those that save their tires the most here. So I'm I'm curious to see how these guys are going to handle it tonight. Will they actually be able to go long enough where they can save tires and have a good run at the end, or will be having a lot of short runs tonight? That remains to be seen.
I think we'll have to find out, but I think it's also time we chat with some of the drivers about that, see what they think here. As we got one of our Mikey drivers out here, but I'm not sure which Michael we've got. Mikey, what do we got down here for your name, sir? Mike, you got a copy? Nope, I don't think we have a copy down there.
Oh, I guess we're going to have to refer to him as Silent Mike.
Silent Mike. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to get him Silent Mike here. Well, I mean, right now, Chantel Pottle has closed out her laps of qualifying, so maybe we could chat with her real quick. Chantel, do you have the copy down there?
Yep.
All right. Well, nevertheless, Chantel, the number 5 here, puts up a solid top 10 speed here, as some of the other drivers have still yet to qualify. How you feeling kind of after that little practice lap on the track, so?
It's gonna be tricky. There's a lot of fast guys here, so I'm just gonna stay clean and just try to save my tires and see where I finish.
Now, saving tires, of course, kind of a bit of an obstacle as well, having to get out of the packs or having to get out of the runs here. I mean, how much do you think really some of these guys could get a bit aggressive here just on the starts, just trying to find that extra little kick out of the gate, you think?
I'm hoping none, to be honest. We got 100 laps, so let's hopefully they saves it all for the end.
For sure there. All right, well, Chantel, we really do appreciate your time here today. Best wishes and luck to you and that 5 crew down there.
Thanks.
The 5, ladies and gentlemen, Chantel Bottle having a little chat with us down on the track as we get ready to hit up to the speeds here in just a little bit. Well, we're kind of running out of guys here to talk to there, Sparky.
Yeah, it looks like so far we've only have 12 that have currently qualified right now. Am I correct?
Yeah, about that. So I guess we'll just
Oh,
try to see if maybe one of the drivers that hasn't qualified has a word here. Cody Griffin, you got a copy down there?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we do have you down there, Cody. Quick question right now. Currently, we are seeing the drivers have qualified, and there's some that have not. You are one of those that have not. Are you trying to maybe play a different strategy than everybody else here today, or what's going on down the track?
Just with the way the setup is kind of tight. I think these guys are going to burn their tires up. I think you're going to see a lot of dive bombs. You're going to see some. You're definitely going to see some action. Everybody's pretty tight together with the draft and everything. We seen that at Fontana with me last week, just trying to kind of get used to how these things suck up. They suck up really quick, and somebody cracks the throttle, you're into them before they even know, and you even know. So I like to start from the back. When we ran the super late model division here about a half a year ago in this league, I always will come from the back. I don't know. I just prefer to come from the back, and I think it proves a lot more if you can come from the back and win it. So.
Yeah, speaking of that win in Fontana as well, I mean, I know that was definitely a bit of a big booster there for you and the confidence in the team to get really striving harder on the track. But, I mean, for this kind of race and deal as well, I mean, for the longer race now, you have quite a few more races add on to the season. How much does that kind of play into your strategy when it comes to just trying to save the vehicles out there on the tracks?
Yeah, you definitely got to be smart in points race. You know, you got to look at the big picture. It's kind of where I'm at. You know, I try to always run kind of smart and look at the big picture. So just gonna kind of ride back here and bide our time, and we'll be up there when it counts.
Absolutely. All right. Well, nevertheless, Cody, we really do appreciate your time. It looks like we're just about ready to go green, so we'll see what happens when you put the big 03 back out on the track, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Cody Griffin, ladies and gentlemen, last time we saw him, he was your feature winner at Old Fontana / Auto Cup Speedway. And with that said, we'll see if he can go back to back and bring this one home. But Dustin, you know what time it is, my friend.
I do. I do believe it is time to get down on that grid. It's about time for race time, ladies and gentlemen.
Presented by Fort Worth Screen Printing, here is tonight's grading order for the Pit Stall Summer Series. And starting him on the pole, Dustin Franklin is in the 47 with Dirk Paulson in the 17.
All right, in row number 2, we've got DJ Mitzel in car number 61 and John Garrett in car number 66.
In row 3, Ty Morosco there will pilot the 13 with Tim Williams in the 45, representing for the Canadian region.
All right, in row number 4, we got Eric Blount in car number 6 and Michael Taylor in car number 98.
In the big 5, out of the rock, Chantel, the throttle paddle, will be piloting on the inside. The outside is going to be hammered down time with Todd Poston.
Inside of row 6, we're going to have Tim Lee in number 24 and Douglas R. Johnson in car number 333.
Yeah, actually it'd be a 388, but in this case for row number 7 as well, Christopher Tate is in the big 54 as outside. We talked to the last week's feature winner last time he was on the show. Fontana saw Cody Griffin take it to victory lane. Can he do it again? We'll find out here soon.
In row number 8, truck number 4, it's Tommy Lee, and to his outside is going to be Gordon Larson Jr. in 00.
At row 9, piloting a big 60 out of the Canada region, Brian Rainville. With the outside of him, it's Len McNeese in the 84.
In row number 10, we have Michael E. Campbell in truck number 292, and to his outside is going to be truck number 18, Nick Acquier.
And finally, in row 11, Jeffrey Todd Tufts out of the Canadian region in the 72 with pilot to the inside. With the outside, it's the number 9, Campbell Delaney. And race fans, at long last, we've been waiting for this one, and quite a few races add on to this schedule. We've got a stacked lineup ahead for you, and we are ready to kick to it. The drivers are ready for it, and as they get these tires smoked up and get these trucks out on the track, it's time to go racing here on PTM Racing TV.
Right, we're getting them stacked up here. Looks like quite already a different strategy here. We had 12 trucks qualify on time, and the other half of the field decided to stay in the back. This is going to be an interesting strategy to see what happens here.
And we'll talk more about the strategies and kind of how everything plays out on the track here with the way these trucks are going to feel, the way the setup is going to do them in. And, you know, I'm already kind of skeptical on this pit strategies these guys are doing, not going out and pit and not going out and actually running a lap, because I think really they're thinking there's going to be a huge wreck out of the gate. But if that's not the case, this could end up backfiring on them long term. We will have to see.
Yep, we're getting them ready coming off of turn 4 here. They're getting stacked up here, getting ready for the green flag.
And settle them up, Sparky. I'll let you take the call. We're green, my friend.
We are green flag, boogity, boogity, boogity. Here we go. Dustin Franklin's going to lead them on down into turn 1. Well, maybe the 17 on the outside may have something to say about that.
He gets it on the outside, down to the inside row, or onto the gate. The 47, Dustin Franklin, right behind him, trying to stay clear of the draft. And watch out for that elusive, very tricky little turn 2 wall protection.
Absolutely, as they head down into turn number 3. It looks like right now, it looks like you can get that early run on the outside. You can make some passes up there for the time being, and right now it looks like some of those guys are taking advantage of that.
Some taking it to the bottom, some taking it to the top, looking for a run out of the gate. It really is anybody's ideals, anybody's landscape where they want to go.
Kind of 2 by 2 behind the leader, Paulson, right now. Derek Paulson with the lead. Franklin and Garrett kind of side by side all the way back to Chantel Pottle back there in 8th spot.
Dodd posting that number 6, not the 51, as he likes to keep confusing us here on the show, putting the monster Yaba Juice Toyota Tundra now up into the fight, puts it up to Michael Terra in that 98 as he continues to put a Jack Lee's Beef Jerky Chevrolet Silverado up ahead, with the rest of the field kind of packed, stacked, and racked into this one.
Yeah, right now 2 distinct lines right now. Some folks up on the top, some folks down on the bottom. The bottom seems to be a pretty good spot to be at, but then again, you're also turning a little bit more down on that bottom, so you might be burning up that right front a lot more. We'll see if that comes into play.
100 laps to the distance too, going to be a big factor and very tough on the drivers as well. I guarantee a lot of them are going to be watching themselves throughout this race, throughout the corners, and throughout the way they go about it. Because, I mean, there's one thing we can talk about here at Kansas Speedway, Dustin, is that this is a multi-groove track, multi-groove area. And right now, Eric Blunt doing a great job keeping his cool there with Dustin Franklin, running a very unique line going into the middle, into the back straightaways, but taking it towards the bottom and the middle of the actual turn sometimes, depending on the location that you see the number 47 at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just kind of keep your space there, kind of run pretty much as the old adage goes, run where they do not run at. I mean, that's what some of these guys are doing. They're just trying to find a line where they're not running in directly in behind somebody and kind of making them work harder, I suppose, trying to get into that clean air.
Yeah, you were talking about this earlier too. We were kind of wanting to touch upon this, in that you have raced on this track with some of the names like Chantel Pottle, with some of the guys like Jeffrey Todd Tufts. I mean, how difficult is it for you to really have to kind of get out of that mindset of racing hard versus trying to actually, you know, conserve to actually get further ahead of these guys?
I guess for me, it depended on where I started at. Like those guys that qualified, took a qualifying lap and started up front, I would more try to do my best to try to stay up there as much as I could and not try to fall to the back. I felt like if I was in the back, I could save my stuff more, but sometimes you just lose too much time back there. And then you got to get that little switch that goes off that says, hey, it's my time to go. Me, it just depends on how you start the race. I'm thinking that scenario. If you started in the back, they kind of get a little bit more desperate of trying to get to the front than you would be if you're already up there.
But I would think also a little bit of it too would be a lot more difficult to actually make some passes and some moves. You heard a lot of these guys say earlier on, watch out for those dive bombs here early out of the gate, because a lot of drivers are going to be doing that. Honestly, I haven't seen really any dive bombs yet. Now, again, it is early, but again, it seems like that strategy the other guys had, like, you know, Christopher Tate, Nicholas Arquier, Michael E. Campbell, Gordon Larson Jr., Thomas Lee, those guys, they're staying back in the drafts and in the packs here, but I'm not seeing them get much speed. Does a little bit of that have to do with that 550 horsepower package as well with these trucks?
That could very well be. That could definitely, the horsepower difference with these trucks could be in that case. And again, maybe, you know, it's kind of like those guys right now are kind of taking that, you know, Daytona Talladega approach, where you're just kind of just waiting in line and just kind of letting the race play out and just sitting in that draft, trying to stay within the leaders. But based on the lap times and all that, it seems like the guys up front are a lot faster than those guys back there conserving. We'll just have to see after a couple laps, as we're approaching lap 10 here. We'll have to see after a couple laps if those guys from the back actually start catching up or not.
It seemed like the last time I broadcasted here and I watched you guys kind of go out on the track, it almost to me seemed like if you had about 15, 20 laps of tire usage as well as fuel usage, it seemed like the track kind of either came to you quicker or ended up hurting you and punishing you more for earlier.
Yeah, it depends on how much you abuse that right side, especially that right front. If you abuse that right front a lot, later in the run, the truck will be hard to try to keep down on the bottom, and you have to kind of lift a little bit more. If you take care of your stuff, take care of those right side tires, I know from experience that you can kind of diamond off the corners a little bit more when you get later in the run, because everybody else will start falling off, and then you can kind of get that run off the corner and make a run at people and make passes on them at that point, because you'll still have grip in your tires, unlike those that wear them out.
You know, we even saw a little bit of that too with Dustin Franklin earlier in the 47 Fort Worth screen printing machine, him and Chantel Bottle kind of driving into one another with a little bit of a draft line. 5 was behind the 47. She actually had to go up higher, dived it down quicker as she was coming off the corners. But, I mean, it is Franklin right now that's falling further back. How long do you think, though, before that one little lap that Chantel had, maybe that it starts to tear up more on her end more than she realizes?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have to keep passing people out. They're getting really getting ready. See there behind John Garrett there in the 66, kind of taking a peek down on the inside, and there he goes, taking that dive into the corner there.
The CMN Transportation 66 Silverado putting right up to the boots of the Lightning Wraps number 5 Silverado as well. Mound in the corners, and Garrett saying exactly what he was thinking. Use the tire strategy to its advantage. They all get 3 sets of tires, and they have a limited reserve fuel, so they know they're going to have to go into pit road either way. But, I mean, tire strategy-wise, I mean, this could be my idea, but if there are guys in the back right now, saving those tires may be the best option for them, and only having to go in one less time than pit road if no cautions fly out. I would think that would probably help them out quite a bit.
That's a good valid point, especially, you know, as the laps wind down and maybe somebody's maybe even thinking about the fuel strategy too. That's a very good point. There could be a possibility, and I've seen races come down to that where folks actually save a set of tires. We got a caution out on the racetrack. Looks like the 72 has got problems there in turn 2.
Tufts there, unfortunately, in the number 21 spot. The 72 has now spun and crashed it out here. Looks like I was in turn number 1 and 2. Not quite what the reason was or what had actually happened, but 15 straight laps of clean running there. Pretty good for their end, but let's take a look at the PTM replay and see what actually went wrong there. Well, looks like he had some help there, and that was the 84. Driven by Len McNeese there. Gave him a little punch or grab there in the corner, and didn't quite know where to go. I think Todd was trying to maybe throw a block there, but I think that was a little bit later a block than maybe he was expecting from that Western Auto Group 84, and went too low and ends up costing himself dearly. Todd getting for a ride there off that turn.
Absolutely. So that's going to put him all the way to the back of the field. Let's see what happens here in the pit stop. Looks like everybody's coming down, but I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to take tires? Or are they going to just take fuel only? We'll have to see.
We'll have to take a look at our pit stop time here now. Pit stop times are up here, race fans. Let's take a look at this one. We will watch them as they go. Ty Morosco right now and the 13, and Derek Paulson right up front of them. We're going to head into their exact same times here. Everybody entering in pit road quickly, trying to find the right leg and the right times. Looking at about 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. Now leading in. Well, looks like a fuel and go. Yeah, fuel and go for the boys. No tires taken, just fuel.
I kind of had that feeling that that's what those guys were going to do on 15 laps of the books. They were going to try to save them tires, so they were just going to come down and get fuel. That's smart on their part at this time because that'll benefit them later on.
Now there is a little hiccup in there though right now. Brian Rainville in the number 60, as well as Thomas Lee, and below him Led McNeese and Michael E. Campbell both all stayed out a little longer. That tells me they took at least 2 sets. They took a set on the right side there, 2 tires given. Michael E. Campbell though with a 20-second pit stop may have actually took a left side on that one as well. So all 4 for the 292. That's an interesting strategy, I feel, because again, you only get 3 sets of tires, but he's been kind of hanging back in the pack here. I'm not sure what his strategy is going to be. He's definitely going to have a little bit of work to do though.
Yeah, I mean he'll be able to pass all these guys that didn't take tires very much. At least in that case, he'll be able to gain a lot of position. The problem is he's going to be restarting way back here, probably back at 15, 16 spot, somewhere around that area. He's going to be behind all these guys. By the time he gets close, even close to the top of the front, he'd already wore that set of tires out by the time he gets there.
Led McNeese back at pit road. I presume a pit penalty has been thrown his way, so that will cost him some time here and cost him a bit of a chance to keep up with the boys up front. So we'll have to get it back out of pit road quickly and try to fire this one back up. He is heading out of pit road now, so we'll have to see how he stacks up against the rest of the drivers as the field is just about ready to go back green here, Dustin.
Right, we're getting ready to rack back up. Looks like Derek Paulson was able to hold on to his lead after the pit stop. Ty Marasco is going to be starting right beside of him. DJ Mitchell and Tim Williams and John Garrett will be the top 5 as they come around turns 3 and 4, and we're getting ready to rally back up again.
Chantel Paul, Todd Poston, Eric Blount, Dustin Franklin, and Michael Taylor and Christopher Tate kind of rounding out in your top 10 here as we are now approaching the restart zone. Off to the Fort Worth Spring Printing restart zone. We fire them up. Green flag coming on down. Let's send them your way here, boys and girls.
All right, let's see if Derek Paulson gets that good restart on the bottom. He got the good run on the outside last time. They had him off down in turn 1. Looks like he's able to keep with the truck on the outside there of Ty Marasco, that blank white looking truck there.
MF Racing Design 17 F-150 of Derek Paulson taking full advantage here. Ty Marasco and the flame black, the flame white up, number 13, trying to hang in there and get some speed up on the chart. DJ Mitchell in the Maxwell House Coffee Shop. Silverado coming right into the mix here and into the field. Movement from the back though. Thomas Lee in number 4 has moved 4 spots up.
Going back down to the turn 1 again. A whole bunch of trucks up on the outside this time. Maybe they feel like that's what football. We got a 3 wide salute right there for just a moment. Dustin Franklin on the bottom of that 3 wide.
Eric Blount caught in the middle of it there, the meat of the sandwich in the X side. Toyota Tundra dealing with a lot of company up in the middle of the pack. Every driver for themselves here as we start to get closer and further out in this one.
Yeah, it almost feels like I'm going back to the 90s here a little bit. We've got the Western Auto truck out there in the front. We got the Maxwell House truck out in the front. We got an X-side truck out here. It feels like we're going back in time here a little bit.
You know, that's actually going to bring you to a funny story that I think I want to kind of bring up right now, and that is as we see Brian Rainville, the number 60, moving up a few more positions. Hard Charger award belongs to him. 8 spots up now for that big 60. But you say something about the 90s and the fact that we're seeing a lot of those trucks actually that have the designs from the old Cup days. You know, coming up, next race is Atlanta Motor Speedway for everybody. And again, it is maybe the new Atlanta, but the thing is, hold on, Chantel Bottle in the wall protection there, lost a lot of speed. The 5 gets out of it at least, but she slowed down tremendously here, letting every other driver pass by. Huge troubles down there for the 5.
Yeah, it looked like she got just a little bit too high, got up into that wall protection, and basically that wall just kind of just sucks you in at that point. That's going to be a little unfortunate there to bring you up the right side of that truck. She's going to now have to come from the back.
Indeed, my friend. So, going back to what we were talking about earlier, though, as you see the 60 getting into the Maxwell House, number 61 there, DJ Mitchell, is that there actually is a time or two we're coming up on that is actually going to be the mini, I believe it's the 30th anniversary. Yeah, literally almost 30 years since the 1992 race. And you're probably wondering at home, guys, all right, what happened exactly there in 1992? Well, in Atlanta in 1992, there was an absolute huge storyline going in. 6 drivers were eligible for the points, and back then that was the Winston Cup points era that had actually set up everybody from the likes of Harry Gantz, Mark Martin, Davey Allison, Alan Kawicki, and the guy that was teammates with that Maxwell House Coffee Shop car, Mr. Bill Elliott. They had a 6-car turn up, and even Kyle Petty, who was the son of racing royalty Richard Petty, was making his last race that day actually, while a man by the name of Jeff Gordon was making his very first career start in the Cup Series that day as well. Ran in that championship race amongst the elite and amongst the greats, which include the likes of Dale Earnhardt and even the boys like Dick Trickle and Dale, and of course Terry Labonte and Dale Labonte. But going to that race there, Dustin, it was literally one for the ages, as it seemed like anyone was going to take that home. And unfortunately, after Allison's wreck had cost him his chance at the championship after really an entire year of grueling punishment and sobriety, if you will, it was down to only Alan Kawicki and Bill Elliott that separated him out by 1 point. That changed the landscape of NASCAR for a time or two and really kind of made things a little bit more clairvoyant where we were going from there.
Yes, absolutely. That was as a kid. That was. I'm showing my age here. As a kid, that was one of the first races I ever watched on that one. That 1992 classic that was, and it was so interesting to see how that panned out. How Alan Quick stayed out enough laps to get the most laps led bonus. And that was just enough to get him that championship. That's how close it was. That's how close it came down to. It came down to where he actually had to stay out, hope that thing ran enough fuel to run all those laps to lead and be able to clinch the championship like that. It's not something you ever would see very often that happens. One of those rare moments in sports, but it was quite a sight to see where it came down to literally just that one lap led.
No gimmicks, no tricks. It was all back then just get out there and race. And boy, was it something back then. I really do miss those old days, but times have changed, as we know. But speaking of changing, the leads has changed as well. Brian Rainfield has actually taken the race lead up, hard charging with Todd Tubbs even actually getting back out of here. And Derek Paulson, we kind of were, well, I didn't want to interrupt you there, Justin, but the 17 Derek Paulson, he came off of corner number 3 and 4, actually slammed the wall and actually lost time on his end as well as the rest of the field here. So he is right now dealing with a burnt set of tires that's actually caused him to drift up. These drivers were not kidding when they said this setup is tight. So do you think maybe now those guys that took at least 2 tires or even more, probably even took literally the full 4, I think they honestly now have an advantage over these guys on the long run haul.
At least for the time being, at least it got, like with Paulson there, he got up too high and got in the wall protection a little bit. Mistakes like that will also hurt as well. That doesn't help matters. But yeah, those guys now that had just taken fuel only, they have to kind of suffer with those tires that they got to deal with, and they got to ride it out. Now, that could benefit them later. We're only lap 30, but that could benefit them later that they still have an extra set. But right now, they're kind of suffering a little bit. The guys, I think the guys that took,
well, they're suffering all right. Dodd Boston, the 6, gets right into the back there. The 61 DJ Mitzel. Mitzel had gone into the wall entering in turn number 1. Tires just too tight for his own good. Cody Griffin trying to pull a daily double. Doesn't quite clear him. Gets a little knocker in the back there from the 6 of Austin. And the 292 now, Michael E. Campbell just really kind of sneaking his way and creeping his way from the back. I think this was the strategy the boys that didn't go great qualifying were looking for.
Absolutely. And boy, that 61, he's definitely got some big time rear damage on that truck. So he got hit a ton on that back end. And I got to wonder if the other truck, yeah, he's got a lot of front end damage on that truck. That's really going to hurt him. So boy, that was a shot.
That was a shot. It took a good nudge in the back. And again, that airflow around the truck needs to be as straight and centered as it gets. Think about this for a second. We talked back in that Atlanta race when Davey Allison really had to avoid what, the Intimidator did is, the Intimidator always does. Go back and watch the race. It was only 2 laps in. He already took 2 guys with him because they were in his way. But the 61 of Missile literally is kind of reminding me of what Davey Allison's rear end looked like, which was pretty much the rear end flaps kind of pulping out like a parachute. We actually had to study the rear end and how these spoilers kind of kick out for these trucks. If that rear end at any time gets damaged up, it kind of becomes more of a parachute where it's actually just going to slow you down more because nothing is straightened out to kind of cut the airflow around the car to create aerodynamics. You're seeing it right now already affecting him because he has to try to save his tires, and he's not getting the same speeds as he was a minute ago. He's dropping time, and DJ Mitchell is losing it as Michael E. Campbell makes a good dive bomb from the bottom to the top crossover entering off too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny you mentioned about the spoiler. Yeah, you're right. When they get those rear ends damaged up like that, it pushes that spoiler up, and it does act like a parachute. And that kind of goes back to, again, going back in the days before NASCAR started regulating spoiler heights, spoiler angles don't need to be hit. Guys used to actually put those spoilers literally flat on these vehicles in order to make them go fast. Of course, they would handle like terribly because of that, but oh, 84 looks like he got in the wall there a little bit off too.
That McD slowing down
yeah,
pretty badly there on the backstretch. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But yeah, guys used to really get fancy with the spoiler height. Used to actually put them flat so that way the air would just go past the spoiler and it would almost be like a speeding bullet. Of course, now because of safety reasons and other reasons, well. NASCAR is kind of limited now on what spoiler angle you can put it at every track and whatnot. But as you said, yeah, if you get that back end all messed up like that and he pushes that spoiler up, it does the absolute opposite. It'll actually put a lot of drag in the truck and really slow it down. Boy, these guys are having a heck of a time with that thing right now.
Clown slamming it right off the wall protection as well. Like McNeek's going to make a big impact here, trying to take him down for that spot there. And this just seems like more and more of these drivers that are on the burnt end tires, they're struggling to get these things turned, to get them cornered off. And the thing is, I don't know how much longer they can really last out. I think they made a big mistake not taking a set of tires.
We shall see, because eventually they will have to. If this race keeps going as it is, we're going to get a green flag pit stop here. So those guys will come in and get their first set. Those guys that already took their first set, what do they do now? Do they come down pit road and take no tires? Do they take two? Do they go ahead and use up their second set? That's the next thing that's going to come up, especially if it's green.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the set indeed here. And right now, currently, two big storylines going on right now. The guys that were up front and now being put to the back. The guys that are hanging around the back are now up front. Funny enough, here, Jeffrey Tatuffs, after that little hitting run he took, he actually used an instant repair up, and pretty much from there took all 4 sets of tires, and he's just been absolutely tearing it up here now with Morosco and Rainville. But Rainville has kind of schooled everybody, almost a full 3-second gap. And keep in mind here, guys, if he does go into pit, whenever he does go into pit road, he still has 2 extra sets of tires he can use. So all he really has to do is just fuel and tire, and he's still going to have a pretty good lead, barring any mistakes on pit road.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. It looks like he is coming down pit road now as we speak. 60 is coming in.
The 60 is in now, so a hard drive and a good opening there from the 60, but he'll have to give his lead up to Ty Morosco, the number 13 driver. No sponsors, no paint scheme, just a big 13 on the top and the sides. And that's all she wrote, and she is now in the lead.
Absolutely. Also looks like the double zero machine is also coming down pit road. But this was an interesting strategy. These guys coming in roughly about lap 40. So that's, we're going to have to see what happens to that as Tom Morasco continues to hold on to the lead. He will not pit this time. He'll stay around, come on around. Here comes 17 down pit road.
Derek Paulson now entering into pit road. He qualified second out of the bunch here today, and he's already lost a lot of speed just by slamming that wall earlier off the tighter set of turns. He's going to need to make up some ground here from these guys, trying to see if he can build up the speed later on, which is certainly possible. But I will say this too here, Dustin. I mean, we're watching guys going into pit road now. We're watching a lot of great crossovers and a lot of great little built up of speed. But, you know, with the schedule that we've got going on, remember, we're now pretty much kind of going into a bit of a weekly format here, guys. So we've got a lot of racing coming up here in the next little substance of weeks, as I know I haven't really been able to tell you, Dustin, but we just got word of it. So the next week, they of course are sure we had them scheduled in for Texas next week, and we are going there. But on the 21st, they got Nashville Super Speedway, and the 28th is Chicagoland. I mean, the setup right there, the only track that has even come close to kind of how you would run Chicagoland is this track, Kansas.
They definitely do have similarities as how you run it. Yeah, Chicago, you kind of like Kansas, how I prefer to run. I kind of like kind of that middle group going instead of way up high in the middle or down on the bottom. I kind of like that middle group. I kind of do the same thing as Chicagoland too. Of course, everybody else is different. But yeah, they kind of run kind of similar in that way. Almost similar style racetrack. Only difference is Chicagoland's got that little bend in the back stretch. But other than that, they're pretty close as far as the way you run the track and the way the racing goes there.
Talk about having to cut through the track as well. The 60 of Brian Rainville making a great pass on around, making some good strides up ahead. Although there's problems down there for Tim Williams. The 45 has come to a dead stop here out on the verge of pit road, misses his pit stop, and we're going to take a look at that here on PTM Racing TV and see what exactly went wrong here. This is something we talk about constantly though, but it's one thing to race yourself on the track, but with these NASCAR races, the biggest part is your team. I think a lot of drivers and fans kind of forget pit crews make the difference, and this is definitely one of those situations where Tim overshot his entry to get to that team to help kind of bring him back to winning form for the later half of the stages.
Yeah, definitely, and for some of these guys, in the back of the head, yeah, you got to race the racetrack too, but you also got to remember how to get in and on and off pit road, and that is a huge thing. You don't want to speed, you don't want to spin out, you don't want to overshoot your pit because every little second counts, and any little mistake that happens while you're trying to get on the pit road is going to cost you seconds on the racetrack.
Tim Lee, Led McNeese, Michael Taylor, they've been in pit road on 15, 16, and 15 respectively, but it looks like Taylor will head in. And Tim Lee, I think, tries to open his own lawn care service on the 24, similar to what we saw Tim Williams earlier. I don't know if they'll get a penalty for that, but that's definitely going to cost him some time as the rest of the field works their way back in. Brian Rainville, I literally said it just a minute ago. I said, if he can get this thing to stay green, watch out, because honestly, this could be his little command here, this little structure, because he can actually just keep the speed he gained and built off earlier and just keep sending it its way. And the rest of the field are going to have a hard time catching him again, because really, that 550 horsepower package isn't like what it would be if you had 670 or even 900 or 1,000. It's hard to really deal with the tire wear and still build up speed to get back up to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when you have the higher, the higher horsepower package, it seems like you can kind of get away with it a little bit. Whereas with this 550 horsepower, you don't have the power. Obviously, you don't have the power to have to rely on to get yourself back up into the mix of that. So it really does kind of put backwards a little bit. Yeah, it keeps the field kind of close together and all that, but boy, you can pay a big price for it if you get like damage or anything like that. Trucks, cars, no matter what you're driving here. But especially with these trucks with the 550 horsepower pack, if you get any damage or anything like that, you fall like a rock.
Now, there is kind of a flip of the coin there on the other side of the branch. You said, of course, you can use two trucks to kind of help push and shove each other back into the fray and back into the fight if necessary. So we're not saying it's impossible to get your run back and get your speed back, but it certainly is a lot harder to get and grab, especially considering what you have to go up against. As we'll get a good camera there on Jeffrey Todd Tufts and John Garrett. John Garrett literally filling the hole and pushing it through the gap on the 72. Todd Tufts takes over a 6th spot as DJ Mitchell gets into the 5th spot. But this is just showing you how much that tire wear and how difficult it is right now to actually keep these things online and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is hard once you get these tires worn out and stuff. I mean, this truck becomes a little bit, I'd say, more unpredictable at that point. Normally, you kind of predict what's going to happen. You got the fresh tires, you know kind of where you're going to run at. And then as these tires wear on, all of a sudden it might get a little twitchy in the back end. It might start pushing up the hill a little bit. So you have to kind of compensate for what's going on as these tires wear and how your truck's going to handle it.
And again, there's a lot of that baiting when you get damaged up or you have troubles with other guys kind of putting you near into that wall or putting yourself into that wall. Again, just even scraping the wall protection on the outside with these things in its own right can actually damage and hurt your truck up more than most people even give it credit for. Going back to what we said earlier about that rear end spoiler, if you get that thing damaged the slightest bit or you bend it out, it then pretty much causes the airflow to kind of be sucked in instead of flow outward. You need that airflow to go straight outward and not inward, so that way it doesn't become a parachute. And same thing goes for the sides of the truck, because the aerodynamics of the outside and the inside are just as important.
Yeah, basically, for all of you out there, basically you just don't want to have any damage on the truck at all.
Yeah, that would be a good call, but I mean, unless you're driving on dirt or you're driving at Darlington, we love you, Darlington, but even you're guilty of this. You can pretty much get away with it then if you have a little bit of damage, but again, that's only saying so much.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, short track racing and dirt, definitely a different animal in that first step here. Definitely depends on what track you're on. Definitely with the bigger tracks, I wouldn't recommend knocking a little carnation out of your truck. It's not going to help you any.
Well, we've always said it here. First, we'll say it again. Sometimes a good bump and run, can do you some wonders. Just don't set it in like Joey Logano with William Byron or Darlington. That's all we'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of NASCAR too, we did hear the rumors and the words going around. We're just gonna have a little free thought about this here, Dustin. But there is word going around of a street circuit going into Chicago. I know we already have iRacing actually develop and create a rough idea of what it could be for street circuit there in Chicago. But I mean, that kind of just now adds on to the multi layers of what NASCAR has become, which is really probably the most diversive and divergent track of the markets here, because they have short tracks, they got dirt tracks, road courses, and now a street circuit to go along with their main ovals.
Kind of an interesting take that they're going with that, with the street circuits. You know, that currently, open field has always been big on, especially Indy cars. They've definitely been about street courses, so they've been that's pretty much their niche, I would say. But that's
IndyCar,
quite a
Formula
different.
One, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Then in this case here, with NASCAR now thinking about doing it, that's quite a different thing. Oh my, the 45 really just tore down the wall there off turn 3.
Came down a little too hard there. Unfortunately, cost himself a lot of time. Now has to try to literally get back out at it here. And speaking of get back at it, I guess I got to eat my own words about what I said earlier. Is that Derek Paulson now has regained the lead as Morosco kind of falls in behind Brian Rainville. Yeah, it's such a lead though. I thought honestly he was gonna be kind of playing a better strategy here and taking these boys for a ride. I'm very surprised Paulson's already caught up as quick as he has.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's back out, and Ty Marasco's not too far behind him. He's about 0.3 of a second behind him there. But, yeah, he's got right back out front. But then again, Paulson pitted a little bit earlier than Rainville did. So Rainville more than likely should be able to get that time back here very quickly.
Certainly there. Morosco right now are getting a big gunfire on Paulson, as we'll get back to our little subject about the circuits in a minute here. But Morosco, he's got a great bit of speed and a lot of hard charging coming up. Paulson in trouble. The 13 coming right for him. And as we look at our lap teams here, Dustin, this has really been pretty much the story of Morosco and his climb to the top to take down Paulson. 0.2 of a second gain each lap on the set of tires he has. And Morosco went in on lap number 43. The 39 laps on Paulson, and Paulson seeing the 4-lap difference right there. 3 wide entering turn number 1, though, gets right around with Cody Griffin.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, that just shows to go how much of a difference tires does make. Just about between 4-lap tires, as you said. And Morasco now, his tires a little bit fresher. He's a little bit quicker right now. Paulson's starting to fade back a little bit, and unfortunately, it looks like something has gone awry with Brian Rainville at the moment. Looks like the Gremlins have got a hold of him.
That's the last thing you want to know in your heart and your mind when the Glitchcraft and Gremlins have taken you over and you've completely lost everything and anything on this end. The Lone Lady Chantel Bottle as well in the 5 had a good start there, qualifying in the top 9, actually top 10 bracket, but now has to go right behind Jeffrey Todd Tufts in his Glitchcraft Gremlin ways as well, trying to hold in and hold the line charge as the rest of your field is still dealing with their own little subject, their own little matter sakes. But it's pretty crazy though. We've seen kind of the runs and those speeds that we thought honestly were not very possible have actually become possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely has become possible here at the moment. And there's Morasco. He's just pulling away now from Paulson. Again, those tires really showed up well. And Christopher Tate, I haven't talked much about him here in the race, but here he is running in the 3rd spot. He pitted the same time as Morasco did, and he's not out of this either. He's only 2 seconds back, and he's gaining a little time on these guys up front.
He's tied as your hard charger right now up there with Nicholas Acquier as well as Len McNeese. He has moved 10 spots up. The man is on a charge and ready to go on a barge. He's got Paulson right up ahead of him here and looking to take it away as he has to get around that 98. Michael Taylor. Taylor opens the door on the bottom, and Paulson has no choice but to sneak his way inside like a thief in the night. But Tate, just by seeing that little edge there, now has got some grip and is looking to come for him.
Currently right now, your top 5, Ty Morasco is in the lead. Eric Paulson in 2nd spot. Christopher Tate 3rd. DJ Nitzel holding very strong there in 4th. John Garrett there in the 5th spot.
top 5 on your screen as well, just to show you guys the difference in timing and zone as well, and how far everyone is. Now again, that is still just off of where we are at lap-wise and where we're at on corner-wise, and if this race continues on, Morasco would have the advantage for what lap he went into pit road and when he came out of. Remember, they all went in at lap 15 due to that little wreck, so he actually had about almost 30 laps worth used up on his truck, so he can use up another 30. He would just need to do about 27-ish laps and he will be completing this race, but that does kind of also give a little bit more of a definition to Q to who can maybe take who and who can go for what. The only driver I see that may be a bit of a wild card, because where he went into pit road, which was lap 52, is Gordon Larson Jr. If he is to somehow get that lap back and find a way to get back into this here, he might have a little bit of speed, a little bit more of an angle, but the way I just watched him kind of go around that truck, it seems like something's wrong there on the big double O. He looks way too tight going in and exiting off his corners.
Yeah, currently a lap down back in the 16th spot is Larson at the moment. There's quite a few trucks lap down already. Tim Lee, saw him have the pit road trouble. That's put him behind the lap. Tommy Lee, he's 2 laps down. Chantel Pottle was a lap down. Just saw Michael Taylor in at 98. He just went a lap down. There are currently 12 trucks on the lead lap. And it looks like Michael Campbell will be the next one to go lap down if they catch him, which is not too far doing that.
And about to go a position down, it appears it's going to be the 17, Derek Paulson. Tate has finally caught up to him after 0.6 of a second gain from 2/10, 2/10, and 2/10 over and over. He's repeated the position, taking the number 54 straight to the inside. Paulson, no room to go, gets passed in.
Just took him just a little bit of time, just eating away, and he finally caught him. They'll make him move up to second position. Put Tate in second, Paulson back to third.
Right back on the Ryan here. Paulson knows he just needs to keep from wearing the truck out, wearing himself out. He knows he's got a long haul ahead of him. Yeah, a lot of timing up for grabs and up position here. Christopher Tate is gaining ground though on Morasco. As we look at our lap time here about all the white trucks here, and well, one white truck is doing a little bit better than the other, I will say, for speed-wise, and that would be Tate. Morasco losing a lot of time here constantly, but it looks like he may be able to slow that number 54 down just a little bit because of how hard he was charging up to him.
Yeah, those trucks are kind of proven now. We don't need a colorful truck to be out here leading the race. White will just be fine. That's just good enough.
Just paint it white, put a number on the side, call it good. We're bringing back old school days, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, speaking of one of our leaders, Mr. Paulson has decided, just coming out of the pits now, he went ahead and went down pit road here about 33 laps to go. So that's an interesting strategy. Came in and got probably his last set of tires at that point.
Went on lap 65, so if he did take his last set of tires, this is a very, very risky move. Considering, again, they took about 31, 32 laps of fuel and tires, so he's going to have to conserve a little bit to keep from going on the brink. That is going to be a very strong little get up and set up, though, as DJ Mitzel has now actually moved into third. John Garrett and Eric Blount moving in the top 5. This is starting to get a little bit more interesting as we go along for the ride here. I'm starting to see a bit of a pattern. Those that stayed back in the pack were the ones that outsmarted the rest, while the other drivers that didn't take tires when they should are going to end up costing themselves a little bit more. The only exceptions would be what Paulson was trying to do earlier, and now what he has finally cooked up, and what DJ Mitzel did, which was when he started in third. Same for John T. Garrett. That's the only kind of exceptions right now that have eluded us from putting position over the ranks here.
Now, I'm wondering if, like in Paulson's case, we're starting to see some others on pit road. Here comes the 61, the 51, the 388 are all coming down pit road to make their pit stops. I'm very curious to see if Paulson maybe got the idea of getting fresh tires, trying to short pit to get enough speed to try to make up time when everybody else is running, 32, 33 seconds, where he can run at, low 30s, high 31 lap times. Try to get as much time as he can away from those trucks, and hopefully they'll run out of time by the time they get them.
We'll have to see, but I guarantee you right about now, you're going to start hearing a lot more drivers clutching that throttle in and really trying to save all that extra fuel they can. Morosco and Tate are literally back and forth with one another going into pit road. And Tate just about took Morosco to the shadow realm entering into pit road. That would severely cost both drivers any position or ground to keep up with this and gave Blount and Franklin maybe a chance to actually steal a spot or two from them. My word.
Oh my, yeah, that would have been disaster. I mean, it's one thing that you want to try to beat the other guy, but you don't want to beat both yourselves to death and then end up taking your both selves out of the race. That was a close call. Glad they were able to get it rectified there and be able to get down pit road and get this pit stop out of the way here.
Tate's out before Morasco. Morasco will have to catch up to Tate. Tate gets the advantage. Len McNeese is already out on the track still, laying down his laps trying to keep up position. He does take the lead and will get some points on lead lives, but that may have changed the landscape up just a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah, that was a great pit stop by the 54. By the way, he got like almost a corner lead on the 13. 13 had a not so good pit stop. 54, good job on pit road getting off there, and he is driving away from it.
4 lead changes, but 4 drivers in the different position taking over the lead, and a whole host of other drivers kind of taking full control of this race. But Christopher Tate and Ty Morasco this last half have really kind of come alive and in their own here, to say the least. It's a very interesting position to be put into as we continue to field in. Now, we were talking earlier, before we get back to the circuit talks, we just want to kind of bring this up too here, Dustin. We were talking earlier about, the issue with the airflow, as well as like the fact that it's a 550. You guys are probably wondering at home, okay, like what exactly is a good example of what the heck you guys are talking about, or like what's wrong with like the speed as well as like the aerodynamics of getting stuck in dirty air? Well, may I bring your attention to literally back in 2020, the fall race in Kansas. You by chance remember a number 22 and a 4 going at it with a little 24 just kind of sneaking his way in the very late stages?
Yeah, I do faintly very remember that. Absolutely, that happened. 22 was kind of messing around, and all of a sudden, where did he come from?
Kind of messed around a little bit, kind of put himself into that position to take over control of the race, and he did indeed, but it was not the way to most NASCAR fans, nor ours, for example, were exactly very fond of or really understanding, which it was nothing against Logano. Well, again, I guess there's a lot of people that don't like Logano still, but I mean, there's nothing against Logano on what he did. He played a smart move. Let's not kid ourselves here, but what we really disdained was the fact that Harvick and Byron had a much faster car when it came to actual speed, tire, and grip. But unfortunately, at that time, they were running that 550 horsepower package. And I believe I was watching it live, and I think you and I were talking about this too. We watched live for about 10 or almost 10 laps worth of literally Harvick full throttling it, Byron full throttling it, and neither could just get by Logano despite being in the draft and couldn't find a way around him. So when we went into this race with these trucks, again, they're just running the same thing, a 550 horsepower package. The only difference is that their spoilers and the way these things are set up are a lot different than a Cup car, but we were not expecting to have such huge runs and huge moves as you see here. This is very interesting to see still, but we were a little nervous if that scenario may pop up in here, but it is not apparently.
No, and the thing is too, also with the trucks, they punch a little bit bigger hole in the air. They do already have enough drag on them already. So with them, you can kind of get more runs on it and not get into that Logano Harvick scenario that you have there, because those cars don't punch much hole in the air. They're more like almost like speeding bullets in a cave. Of course, with these trucks, they got that high roof. They have so many different things with the truck that causes a lot of drag with the truck. So you can get a little bit more racier with these trucks. You can get a little bit more of the run on that. Whereas with the cars, in that sense, you can really literally just slow somebody down that is fast.
Absolutely indeed. Right now, like I said, it's come into play. It has come into territory for some of these guys. Derek Paulson has entered in pit road for the last time, as he has to admit defeat. Now again, Morasco and Tate, they are on position and on track as well as John Garrett to finish this out with what they have. Paulson tried to use a very interesting strategy. It did not play out well. Tim Williams moving back up towards top 5 scenario. Just needs a little bit more ground and coverage as Garrett continues to dive in quick here as Morosco has entered into pit road as well. Hold on a minute. What has happened to the 13?
Yeah, I gotta wonder what happened to him. He's pit road already. That's weird because he was just on pit road not long ago. So I'm interesting. I wonder what happened there? Here comes the 0-0 coming down too.
Gordon Larson Jr. has that in pit road, so I'm now a little bit confused here. We'll take a look at our pit links tent here as well to show you guys what we're talking about. But I mean, you can see they were nearing about 30 laps. Well, I guess they weren't exactly full 30 laps here, Dustin. Looks like they're actually off by about 2 or 1 lap or so. But that, I mean, if you clutch these trucks in, you could save at least 2 more laps. I've seen it before, and I've had it happen here before. Back from our heat days, I remember we used to have a guy by the name of Chris Pendle do that every now and then, and I remember even you did that a lot as you were kind of kicking our butts at Bristol one time when I was trying to win my first race, for crying out loud.
I've done it at this track before. You can definitely I've done it at this track a couple times with the Infinity Series back in the heat days. Just by clutching it or kind of basically going slower and trying not to be on the throttle as much. There's a kind of different ways you can save fuel, and if there's only 1 or 2 laps there, you can save. And right now Tate's got about a 7-second lead. So he can kind of afford to kind of back it up a little bit. He can kind of go a little slower, clutch it out a little bit, and he'd be able to save about 1 or 2 laps. And that's all he would really need.
It's going to be an interesting position to put into. We do know he at least took enough for almost a full tank, but I thought, Garrett and Franklin do look like they may have took a little bit more time here. So Tate's definitely running a fine line here. He's got to be careful, especially with Garrett closing in where he is at right now. So this is a very, very interesting little position to be put into as we show you our lap times right now between those two. And it's all Garrett basically getting ninth, almost getting full seconds on that 54. He is in deep, deep trouble.
And looking at the pit strategy, looking at Tate, looks like Tate and Tim Williams, looks like Dustin Franklin, they all pitted around the same time. There's a couple guys, though, that pitted a lap or 2 later. Looks like Nice, he may have pitted maybe a lap or 2 later. So as long as he stays on the lead lap, he might have a shot to fuel this thing out if this keeps going.
It might indeed, or we'll have to see. So as we kind of come closer to the end here, we're only down to 17 laps to go. And I guess real quick, I just want to kind of get my final thoughts real quick on what we were talking about earlier there with the tracks and the circuits. But I mean, if there's one thing I will say about that street circuit, and I'm still not agreeing with the location. I still think they should have gone to Vegas, but I think the only reason that we're not going there is because Formula One beat them out. As well, I guess we can't really talk too much about this. Christopher Tate literally has now gone into pit row as well. John Garrett stays out, so this is just a wild position to be put into because I thought they took enough fuel to get finished out or taken off on the tires. Dustin, they have not taken enough, and now they're starting to pay for it.
I'm still holding out on this fuel strategy. I think somebody is going to stay out here and try it. I think somebody's going to gamble. It's going to be one of them guys that pitted at the last second. I think it's going to try it. I know Garrett's is thinking about it. He's not coming down pit road yet at all. He's just kind of sitting out there riding it right now. We'll have to see if he holds true. But I'm wondering if somebody's going to gamble and sit out here.
Well, Dustin Franklin's doing the same as well, so I mean, it's a very good chance. I mean, at this point, really, we have no clue who's gonna go in next or who will give out next. But if Garrett and Franklin give in, they'll both inevitably be going in at the same time because they both went into pit road around the same time, 69 and 70 between each other. But this is just a wild, wild little fuel run. Guys going in at certain points and just kind of giving up position when they least expect it.
Yeah, I thought for sure maybe that 54 maybe got too far out in front there and maybe ran a little too hard and lost that lap or 2 of fuel that he had. And he had to come down and make sure that he had enough fuel at the end. But I'm very intrigued about this Garrett Franklin strategy going on right now. and also McNeese too. McNeese has not come in, or Eric Blunt or Cody Griffin. So
And
I'm really.
this just got a
Oh
lot more
no!
interesting.
Oh,
Yellow
and here
is
comes the
out.
caution.
Yellow is out, and this just flipped everybody's tails ends on end, man. This is not good for John Garrett or Dustin Franklin. They were both 33 and 23 seconds ahead of second and third, fourth place. Now this literally just changed the ballpark. That's 66 and the 47, as well as everybody else behind him. And by the way, Paulson was creeping up and coming up quick, got around Eric Blount, and just completely started taking this one in stride. This is going to be a very wild scenario coming up right now for these guys.
Absolutely. It looks like based on what I can see, it looks like we only have about 5 trucks in the lead lap, and of course, one of them will get the free pass. So we'll see that happen. But wow, that really does change everything. Now here comes Garrett down the pit road now under caution, and everybody else is also going to come down pit road from the point.
If you are any of these guys right now, I would say probably for Paulson and Griffin, I would just stay out if I can. But it looks like they're not going to. I think they're really thinking that what Garrett and Franklin are going to do is take those tires and run away. And we know what those tires can do. These things are gripping, and they are ripping the track up a new one.
And I tell you what, now those guys that saved that set of tires for the end, they're going to look like superstars now.
John Garrett is out as well there, and he has taken all 4 and fuel, so that is lining him up for success. Franklin will follow behind. Paulson needs to hurry, though. He's got company coming from behind here. Ty Morosco going to get right up ahead, just barely a Paulson. Edges him out. Cody Griffin back out there. The 24 Tim Lee gets it out on the track, and Len McNeese stays out, which is going to be a very, very bold risk in maneuver here. We saw what happened last time at Fontana when you're on a cold set of tires. This could be a very wild scenario to be put into.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually agree with his strategy on that, but we'll see what happens with that. Anything's possible.
It certainly is indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now approaching it, and we're approaching that time at last here, so. And I guess real quick before we do get back into it, I really want to get this out of the way because I know a lot of people have asked me and they know I've asked you. But again, I'm just really hoping that whatever happens here, this next schedule change, the only thing they don't do is take away Road America or take away a good date or two. If anything, take away one of the oval dates and leave Road America alone, and just go back to the Indy Oval. That's my thoughts on that. What's your thoughts, bud?
Hey, I like that. I like that idea. I like that idea entirely.
Oh yeah, just think
Keep Road
about that.
America.
Yeah, like the Brickyard
I mean,
400 will, with that new next gen, I feel actually will finally give us something good because it's going to be more of an interesting race rather than just being what Pocono is too, which is all about endurance and technologically speaking the race itself. So, and to me that Indy road course is just sorry, but that's not Indy to me. Just saying.
I'm curious about how the Pocono race will go because that'll kind of get people thinking. If the Pocono race ends up really good with the next gen cars, maybe NASCAR may consider going back to the oval at Indy. That would be, if it races that good there, it should race good at Indy with that package. So I would be all for it if they decided to do that.
I mean, I feel like they should give it to him. I mean, heck, we run Texamore Speedway still, so come on now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still get people hating me for saying that, but I'm sorry. I will never like Texamore Speedway. Give me back North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race, and then I will be a happy man.
That's a good idea too. Now you said that.
Anyway, before we get ourselves in trouble, we got a race to finish calling up here, guys. We've got 10 laps left to go here, and literally this entire race has been flipped upside down. The first caution took everything a little bit out of control and threw things to the wire, but this is now literally gone haywire here. With 9 to go, Len McNeese is going to try the unthinkable. He has been in pit road on lap 71, but he's got about a 17 lap different tire set to Garrett and Paulson, as well as Franklin Griffin and his. I'm sorry to say there, McNeese, but those tires may get eaten alive in a minute.
Yeah, I really feel for McNeese right now because I don't know how he's going to be able to stay up there with those old tires. These guys are going to eat him for lunch.
Well, if you heard earlier on them talking about dive bombs and worrying about that kind of maneuver in racing, race fans, I think you're about to get that in a little bit then some. We'll fire them off. Down into turn number 4. Dustin, you have the call, my friend. Lead him into the Fort Worth screening rinse start zone, sir.
All right, pace car is going to duck on off here. We're going to get ourselves a start here. Green flag now out in the air. We're back underway. John Garrett, McNeese both going to lead them on down into turn 1. We'll see how these old tires hold up. They're not holding up too well. Looks like Garrett's going to get them down on the bottom on turn 1.
Top 5 will remain on your screen for the rest of this race here. Fielding them back onto the track. Blount looking to the inside. And you can see McNeese doing a little bit of a blockade, if you will. But Garrett had the inside line all to himself. But here comes Dustin Franklin. Fort Worth screening. Throws a 3 wide pack. And look at Griffin on the inside.
Oh, man, they are really starting to get racy now. It's time to go. It's not time to do any saving now. It's go, go, go. And these guys are all over each other.
This is what happens when you put each other at their finest and at their toughest. The drivers are putting limits to shame. Garrett Bell clipping Griffin's wings there under the stretch of the back end. Oh, but Blount is slammed right upside down. He is up on his roof.
Oh, my goodness. The X-side ride on his lid.
He is on his roof, sliding carelessly halfway across the track.
Oh, wow.
Blount is talking to the officials. He's saying he's okay, but I guarantee you the bank says otherwise, and so does his brain right about now. Let's take a look at the replay. Look at this. He tries to go for the run, and a slight glitch graphic gremlin comes in, but you did see the 84 of McNeese was coming down low and just catches Blount at the wrong time. Blount had the speed and the momentum, and he looked like he was going for broke. The motor quits in the 6th. He is done for the day, but my word, what a wreck and what a horrible, horrible way to be put into that spot.
Man, it just that truck, as soon as it got on its side, the air got underneath that thing just took off. And John Garrett got a little bit of damage in that wreck as well. It looks like he's going to have to come down pit road and get that fixed. The left side of his truck is all bent in.
Yeah, he clipped the right front of his fender off on, I believe it literally was the roof of Blount. Take that for what you will.
Well, now what do we do?
What are you asking me for? We literally just saw absolute madness just pop up around here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, here's even more maddening. McNeese is still out there on them same old tires, and now he's got a busted right front fender on his car.
Yeah, busted right front fender. He's literally 2nd place right now. Again, I didn't say he was not going to get, he wasn't going to have a chance. I'm just saying he was going to be put into a very unique situation. But it looks like he's kind of putting a Logano at stake here, and he actually used the draft as a way to keep the airflow, to keep speeds at a maximum, and try to give dirty air to the other guys to kind of prevent them from cutting through the air as hard. It seems to have worked, but I hate to say it, but it came at the conclusion of losing another driver, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't think we're done with that yet, as far as holding people up. And I tell you what, I gotta give him credit. I mean, he's on them old tires. His truck's all beat up, but he's running in 2nd. I mean, his strategy so far has kind of worked out. We got another caution. Maybe he's thinking that these things we're gonna have caution after caution now, because everybody's gonna get overly aggressive, try to take every spot that they can. And we're gonna see more wrecks like that. So he's hoping maybe I can stay up in front and still get a good, decent finish out of this.
You would think, but nevertheless here, absolutely chaotic insanity from our drivers and from the people. And let's just kind of get this out of the way too, but Cody Griffith literally started in 14th, and that dodge and that charge literally going 3 wide, entering in for the race lead. He snatches it away and now has an opportunity to do something a lot of drivers cannot do on PTM Racing TV, which is go back to back in sessions and in races here on the show. He won at Fontana. Can he do it here at Kansas? This is a completely separate end track, considering you're going from a 2 mile to a 1.5 mile long track, as we'll now show you with the track tech talk here, presented in part by Fort Worth Screen Printing. But Dustin, you alluded to it earlier, man. This 1.5 mile, it's all about just trying to keep your corners tight and keep it up to speed. But that back straightaway does kind of give you a little bit of an opening, considering it's the only part that's actually straight out of this facility.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That basically is the only thing that is straight is the back straightaway. Run straightaway, you can get that run, and then we see people go down below the apron, down on the flat, and try to make passes down there. But normally, sometimes that also leads to problems, as I would say. Back stretch, you got a little bit more room back there to kind of maneuver around and kind of get more runs going into turn 3 off there.
And with only 3 laps left, somebody is either going to make or break this race. I could give you a guess who probably wants to make this race, but may end up breaking something again. But I will tell you right now, if Griffin can just get a good start here and hold back Franklin and Paulson, I think he may be the guy to watch out for. The thing is, McNeese, though, he's got his fellow crew driver in that 17 behind him, being kind of a bit of a thorn. And we forgot all about the 2 that were duking it out earlier, the big whites out here, Christopher Tate and Ty Morasco. They are in the top 5 brackets. They're going for broke here.
Yep, absolutely. They're right back in this thing. Both of the plain white trucks are right back into this race now. As we're about ready to come on down, we're getting the one to go. Pace car is going to duck on off here. We're going to get them fired back up here for you folks. Green flag back under the way. We're back underway, and here we go.
Golden opportunity for these drivers to take out of the gate. McNeese will try to block the outside. Does not get successful enough. Now getting charged up again. Put right in the middle. Paulson stuck in the traffic. The 6 of Paulson trying to make a charge for the inside. Make a run for here. Garrett right in between here as they're going 3 wide. Sliding right behind all of it.
Oh boy, they're really stacked up as they get into turn 3 and 4. 3 wides all over the place. Meanwhile, Griffin's still holding on to the lead as for the moment as they come down. And we're down to 2 laps to go.
Christopher Tate literally marching to the beat of his own drum. He managed to get through 2 rows of drivers now with 1 left on his plate. Griffin has 2 to go, but he's got company in the 54. Tate looking to steer clear of him. The draft line becoming a factor. You saw Griffin swinging it around on the back straightaway, trying to hold him back.
Definitely trying to hold him back. We'll see if he can continue that as they come down to the start-finish line. White flag is up in the air. 1 more lap around Kansas.
1 more to go. 3 wide entering off. We are finishing this race under checkers no matter what they do. Griffin trying to hold the bottom. Tate trying to steal one on the middle. Looking to drive it harder on the outside. Griffin reels it up to the top side. Now into the top bracket. Tate goes up. Griffin tries to throw the block. It doesn't work. Entering into 3. They are nearly side by side there. Tate's going to go for a crossover. Entering off final corner. It's Griffin, though, that threw the block and holds on to take the win.
Right. Wow. What way to hold him off. Good job by Griffin.
Great ending and conclusion there. The pit stall 03, Cody Griffin will win another one and joins an elite group to go back to back. Here on PTM Racing TV, he wins at Kansas Speedway.
Wow, what a finish indeed. What a job by Tate to get himself back in there. Derek Paulson coming home in 3rd. Ty Marasco's come home 4th. All those guys that was up front ended up finishing up here at the end and almost had a run at it. But Cody Griffin, what a strategy. Started in the back and then got up front when it counted and was able to hold everybody off and secure the win.
You can't stand clear of Christopher Tate's last-minute run and Derek Paulson going for everything he could, but Tate literally had a perfect strategy mixed in with that draft, but Griffin saw his maneuver, and he may have played his hand a little too early, costing him this one, and it goes to the end with Griffin holding him off. While we get ready to talk with our top 3 drivers here as he see Cody Griffin doing some burnouts on the track, Our finishers are now on your screen here. Top 10 on this go. Cody Griffin holds off to this one by a mere 900ths of a second. Tate going second, third. Derek Paulson. Fourth to Ty Moresco. Fifth to Todd Poston. Sixth goes to Dustin Franklin. Seventh to Tim Williams. DJ Mitchell getting eighth. Ninth to John Garrett. And Len McNeese getting a 10th.
East was able to hold on at least for a top 10 with those old tires and that beat up truck. He did a good job to at least hold his top 10 spot there.
Could have actually had second place had that last restart not happened. Might have actually had a chance there, but nevertheless, what a performance and a great conclusion for all drivers involved here. We'll take it down and talk with your finishing results here. Ladies and gentlemen, popping up in the number 3 spot, he pilots to 17, qualified second. He'll finish third. Derek Paulson will bring it home in third. And Derek, congratulations first off on a podium here. As you kind of hopped out of that truck, you said, you had that look on your face like, I'm glad I got out of that pack after that one.
Yeah, that late caution kind of screwed us in strategy. It seems like certain people get all the luck, and then some of us, we just not get any luck at all. So it was a little nervous. Took a lot to get back to third. Glad to miss that one wreck there towards the end. I'm a little disappointed with third, but it is a podium. I am getting interviewed, so it's it'll be okay.
It'll be all okay indeed. I know this was a big boost get and a bit of a speed get as well here coming into the podium. I know you had a lot of wild races here these last couple days here, but with this finish and this performance, I mean, does this kind of help out setting up for Texas next week?
Yeah, it does. I typically do fairly well at Texas, so I am hoping that that transpires again next week, and maybe I can get a little lucky and bring it home.
Absolutely. Well, nevertheless, though, here, Derek, you come away third out of the bunch today. Who do you want to thank for this?
I got to thank you up in the booth. I got to thank MFRD and MF Racing Designs. Hey, you did my paint today quickly for me, and always great at doing that. I got to thank Ty and Nick. You know, it was a good run for Ty. He got fourth. He probably should have finished better than that too, because we had the speed. It's just luck wasn't on our side. And I got to thank the admins at the pit stall, and I got to thank all the guys that showed up tonight. And I hope all the guys continue to show up because it's a fun group of guys to race with.
That certainly is indeed, and it's a great group to see come out and perform the same way you did here. Derek, congratulations on the third place today.
Yep, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Paulson there, and the number 17 coming away with another solid performance there. The number 54, Christopher Tate, now on the run and now onto the show here, race fans. He comes in second place today after a bit of a charge on a last-minute fight. That's Christopher Tate. Congratulations on a second place finish here, and man, it looked like on that back straightaway you had the right idea, but it looked like Griffin knew what you were trying to do. Did you play your hand a little too soon for him, you think?
Maybe, but I think it was all really just not tires, but it was tires because he had fresh right, so like he wasn't gonna push tight on the bottom, and I knew he was gonna block the bottom no matter what. So if I would have went down there, we would probably both wrecked. So I was wanting to try and get to his outside to pinch him down, but once I got there, it just pushed for me, and I couldn't get to him. But good win from him. It was a good race. I enjoyed it.
I mean, as if there was any, I know you kind of alluded to it there about trying to pitch him to the bottom by being on the top, but I mean, if there was anything you could have done maybe later or earlier in this race, would you may have tried it there, you think?
Yeah, I would have. I would have probably pit 2 laps later. That way, I would have been stuck a lap down from that caution and been a wave around. But I think that and going high in 1 and 2 with 2 or 3 to go, I think is that could have possibly changed things as well. It's just I was hoping I can get the run off of it, and he pulled a gap, and I just had to close that back in with 2 to go, and it just kind of I think that really made the difference.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, here, Tate, I know this one definitely will kind of sting a little bit here for now, but you are a second place finisher today, so I mean, who do you want to thank here for that?
Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank everyone in this league. I just really got in like 2 minutes before the race started. Well, so far it was a good group. It was a great race. I enjoyed it. Thanks to Grip Marketing, 3F Racing, Orion Motorsports. I think that about does it.
All right, well, Tate, we really do appreciate you coming back on board, and congratulations on a very strong second place finish today.
Appreciate it.
A strong finisher for second, but not quite enough to be the #1 man in the house. The guy that does it, he joins the club of the back-to-back drivers on PTM Racing TV. Ladies and gentlemen, Cody Griffin in the 03 pit stall truck Chevrolet Silverado. And Cody, that, my friend, is probably what we call literally defensive maneuvering at its best.
Yeah, we had that first caution and it kind of screwed up everything I wanted to do. And we come down pit road and they kind of accordioned and Eric jabbed the brakes. And when Eric jabbed the brakes, I didn't want to run into the back of him. So I went to the right of his truck. And when I did, I clipped the commitment cone for pit road. I drove up to 8th when that caution come out and I clipped the cone and it made me start in the rear. And man, after that, I was just kind of a gamble from there. I didn't take tires till lap 75 or 70 whenever I pitted. We took tires then the first time. The right front was I think the right front had 23% left and the right rear had 24. So they definitely they were about to be May pops or win pops. They were done. I was sliding all over the place there that last run, but man, it's just luck. You know, you got to have luck sometimes, and you know, sometimes it's better to be lucky and good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we were good, but if that caution wouldn't have come out when it did, we would have never had anything for it. So.
He certainly did have quite a bit of an offensive maneuver, I guess, now that we didn't really kind of notice it. But you had, as you just said, literally, you just had to kind of bring it back from the depths of the Shadow Realm to then get up into the White House section. But, I mean, when you had to go up against Tate, how much was really involved, and how did you try to block him?
Well, you know, it started coming down the backstretch, and we took the last restart, and I knew he was probably going to be one of the toughest ones to get, and we took off, and we took the white, and I glanced up in the mirror, and I seen him coming, so when we come out of turn 2, I knew when we come out of turn 2, I seen him, he was up toward the fence, and I thought to myself, I was like, if I just guard the bottom, he's either not going to be able to get around me, or we're going to make contact for him to get around me. I knew if I just guard the bottom, he probably wouldn't have nothing for me. So that's what I done, and I seen him try to make the run up toward the top and rip the fence through 3 and 4. So I kind of tried to push him up against the wall as much as I could. I didn't want him to be able to pinch me, so I kind of jabbed it to the right there at the last minute, and I think it kind of got his attention. And it done exactly what I wanted it to. You know, it's clean racing. You know, never touched, but raced hard. So.
Raced hard, and, you know, at the end of the day, sometimes that's all you need. So, Griffin, you're going to walk away the winner and join the club of guys that have pulled up a back-to-back performance here on PTM Racing TV. Who do you want to thank for all that?
I got to thank Tim Lee and Dave, everybody at the pit stall for making this happen. John at Fort Worth Screen Printing, thank him. Got some good luck going. We'll see if we're racing late model this weekend. Was supposed to run in Wake County and Raleigh, and then we're having some bad weather come through here, so that got rained out. So now I think we're going to try to go to Goodyear in Jacksonville, North Carolina, Saturday and race down there. So as long as the weather hopes out, maybe we can keep this momentum rolling and get everybody in victory lane for real.
Our best wishes to you there, and we'll see if that happens down on the track, and we'll see what goes down for you. But nevertheless, the hard charger and the best driver of the day. Top spot for you, Cody Griffin. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
The 03 pit stall Chevrolet Silverado. Cody Griffin takes this one home. Sparky, as we close this one out here today, Kansas, I think this really just needs to be kind of discussed too. We kind of brought it home earlier. We discussed about the airflow, how hard it was going to be for these drivers to have to work around this place, and yet they kind of just made a monkey out of us and getting some speeds when really we did not, or at least I didn't think they were actually going to get as much as they were going for.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm amazed about is just what Cody just said there about what he did, his strategy. Like, he stayed out there on his first set of tires for that long. That's bold. And he came down and said he had like 23% on his right side tires. That's amazing that, to be able to run that long and do that. But yeah, these guys really did kind of make a monkey out of us a little bit here tonight. The way they were running, especially there at the end, they were doing stuff 3 wide and able to make runs on each other. And it was a good finish to watch.
It was indeed, and it just goes to show you that the Pit Stall Summer Series, they continue to grow in numbers as they continue to grow in speeds, and it's getting more and more fun by the hour. So if you guys want to keep up with the action, just simply like to follow us up here on Facebook, head over our YouTube, subscribe there so you never miss the beat, you never miss the show. What a performance by all involved, and a crazy, crazy day of racing here in Kansas City, Kansas. Race fans, that's all I'm going to do here today for your showcase, presented in part by our friends at Fort Worth Screen Printing. Be sure to check them out at their website, fortworthscreenprinting.com. Also, their little Twitch channel for John T. Garrett. Be sure to check them out at John T. Garrett on the Twitch channel. Definitely got some great showing and show you what he's up to on the track as he goes live with us. But nevertheless, here, race fans, I have been your host, Christian Shriver. Join you guys. My friend and colleague today, Dustin Sparkalicious Slonaker, joined us here as well. Thank you for tuning in to the show. We will be live with the Super Money Race tomorrow night. And then, of course, that little Saturday and Sunday night rallycross action. You know where to go. We'll see you then. From all of us here at PTM Racing TV, though, signing off. Thank you for the time.